first and
Yeah, cool, cool,
foremost,
cool.
Nii, thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to interview with the Davy magazine.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute
Yeah.
pleasure.
First and foremost, talk me through your background.
Yeah, so I studied broadcast journalism at Nottingham Trent University. I've always had a passion for creating content for change, which is why I decided to study broadcast journalism. And studying broadcast journalism really gave me the insight about what the sort of career I wanted to take, you know, working within the journalism field. And essentially, I wanted to actually become, well, initially, I wanted to become a presenter. And, you know, making sure that I do fulfill those goals. But after a while, I think it was around my second and third year, I realized that I was more into documentary filming and creating stories that would make an impact and inspire other people. And once doing that and getting into the background of, you know, creating new stories that would essentially inspire people, and documentaries that would essentially showcase everyday humans about what they're doing. I knew that was my purpose, and I knew this is the field that I want to take. So essentially, I went with, and after I graduated, I worked as a runner at ITV. You know, I was really using the opportunity to build my connections there and build my connections within the industry to allow me to, you know, thrive within the media industry. Because as they always say, the media industry is very small. Now, even though I wasn't gaining a lot of journalistic practices, there was an element of, you know, connection there. As I said, it's just a matter of connecting with other people to allow you to go further within the industry. So the next step I took was freelancing. I started freelancing within different industries, and I freelanced firstly at Sky News as an output producer, and also London as production journalist, and also freelancing at Associated Press. So all these different places, and then decided to go into a full-time job with London Live, working full-time there. And honestly, that helped me the most in terms of the skill set that I have now and that I have adopted now. I can honestly give it to London Live, as well as obviously uni, but London Live really helped edify that urgency. And you know how it is in the newsroom. The adrenaline, you know, is nonstop, and that was me day to day. Honestly, it was day to day, nonstop. And yeah, skills that I've accumulated from that are undeniably transferable to the platform that I have now, which is Dole Society, which we'll get into after. And honestly, I just give credit to, you know, all the industries and all the organizations that I've worked at. And yeah, it's just honestly helped me a lot. It's helped me a lot.
Love, great, love that. And did you always, say, growing up, you've gone through school, do you always envision yourself in journalism, having a career in the media?
Yeah, so I studied English literature and media at college. Well, sixth. And I always knew I wanted to take that route into the creative route, creating films. Yeah, as I said, that would essentially inspire other people to become the best version of themselves. But I didn't essentially know what route to take initially. Then doing more research around what would align with my purpose, and I saw that it was journalism. And even though it may not have been traditional journalism, there were journalism practices that I was applying and still applying to this day that would help create and fulfill the purpose that I want to have. You understand? So
Yeah,
it's really helped shape that mindset. And I think ever since young, it's like I knew I wanted to do that, but I didn't know which route to take, but I knew I had the skill sets and the mindset there in order to attain those goals.
Oh wow, wow, wow. And so just it came to which university? Nottingham Trent, and then yeah, hit the ground
Yeah.
running from the first year, from there and go like that.
Yeah. So it was Nottingham Trent that I went to, and honestly, Nottingham Trent had, yeah, honestly birthed, um, you know, um, just a mindset that has allowed me to understand what I want to do. There was a lot of lectures there that was super helpful, and that really guided me into the steps and journeys that I want to take. And there's still tutors that I still communicate with till this day, which is amazing. And I give credit to all of them. Honestly, I really do.
Yeah. I mean, myself also going to come from Nottingham Trent, that's why I second that. I second that, and yeah, the lectures they definitely really were beneficial to the growth period, the growth process, and to to inspire others to encourage people to achieve more, achieve better. So yeah, what
100%. And there's
go on.
Oh yeah, sorry, it cut out there a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I completely concur, because honestly, there were lecturers and tutors that really pushed me to become the best version of myself, and there are tutors out there, even though there were some that I didn't really speak to, but like I can honestly say that that I'm still in contact with at least two till this day, and they've been full support of what I'm doing with Dose of Society, Run with Purpose. They've even brought me in to help out with talks and whatnot, which have been amazing. So yeah, honestly, I'll give credit to them, man, and I just hope that they continue to do the same with other students as well, and I have no doubt that they do and will.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about passing it down to each and every year group, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. exactly.
What challenges did you face as a journalist that as soon as you became qualified, like recognition, visibility, that kind of thing?
I think the challenges that I mainly faced were, just getting my foot through the door initially. I mean, you know how hard it is when you're cold emailing all of these people in order to get a freelance gig, which is basically the grind. It's the grind. You're reaching out to people constantly with the hopes of potentially getting a freelance gig. And I think that was definitely one of the difficulties that I faced within journalism. And with freelance, it isn't set. So like you're constantly having to keep on cold emailing, just to make sure that you have another gig lined up after that one's done, or just in case that one doesn't fall through. Do you understand? So there were a lot of difficulties there, and it really did play a lot on my mindset, and what enabled me to see the real benefits of running, for me personally, which is something I'll get into after with Run with Purpose, because that really helped me understand the mindset that I have and the mindset that I'm capable of having, knowing that cool, they are going to be some dark days, they are going to be some down days, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I am going to overcome this. So I just need to keep on keeping on. I need to keep on sending out those emails. I need to keep on reaching out to these people. I need to keep on pestering people, because like for me, I'm not shy about pestering people. I'll honestly just keep on plowing on. I'll be like, yeah. I'm just wondering if you see. I'm just wondering if you saw my email.
Just checking up.
Like honestly, that is what you have to. That's what honestly you have to do in the journalism world. And even just in general, in order to get what you want and get what you need, you have to be very persistent. And I think that's a mentality that we should all, attain. and obtain in order to get where we want to be, because it's only us that's going to stop us, ourselves. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, definitely that was one of the difficulties I faced. And I mean, not without saying, but considering the fact that I am Black as well, you know, there were a lot of challenges there, subconsciously, and, you know, of subtle approaches, you know, and that essentially hurt me. You know, always putting these that would be deemed as Black stories, whether that's to do with knife crime or that, or also comments like, "Oh, this rapper. Oh, do you know him? Do you know him? Like, why didn't you ask someone else?" Do you understand? There were things that, those are the things that really got to me, and obviously those are microaggressions that essentially make you aware about, you know, people's mindsets and people's thinking. And obviously we're seeing it today that, you know, we're seeing it more than ever, that people are being more outspoken about what's currently happening with BLM and Black Lives Matter. And one thing I appreciate about right now is that people are being outspoken more than ever. And I really do appreciate that. So people within industries, even though they may not be doing it on a genuine stance, but they are making an effort. You know, they're putting out posts. They are acknowledging the fact that there are less people of color on their platforms, or there are less people of color within, you know, their industries. And there's a lot of things that need to change, because I think true diversity within the industry can really allow one to understand other people's culture and other people's understanding, rather than coming up with an assumption about, you know, who they are and where they're from. Do you understand? And yeah, I mean, this is the prejudice that you face every day in and day out. It may not be upfront, but it's very subtle, and it really did get to me as well. But there are ways to handle it. You know, you have to be very calm and collected, but at the same time, making sure that you are addressing it in a very calm, collected way, confronting them, you know, letting them know. You know, there are times where I do it in a banter way. At the same time, just letting them know that this is not right. You understand?
That's right.
Because the way I always see it, it's all about dialogue. Dialogue equals understanding.
Yes.
Without any understanding, then yeah, we wouldn't be creating relationships. We wouldn't be able to have a better society. Yeah.
It's very true. It's all about learning and I guess having more knowledge on the certain topics. Teaching each other a few things, so we can all learn. Have those difficult discussions, conversations. We'll talk more about the American situation later on. I want to go back to yourself, and who are some of your inspirations? Which media figures? Who do you look up to?
For me, Reggie Yates.
Reggie Yates seems to be a lot of
There's always been
Reggie Yates. If you're Black, Reggie, it's gonna be it's a guy.
He's always been an inspiration, man. And remember the first time that I met him, and yeah, he just like, he's the same as he paints himself on media as well. Like, I love the fact that he's genuine,
so humble,
and very humble, genuine guy. You know, down to earth, and you know, I've always respected his craft and his work rate and what he does. You know, he's just a very genuine guy, especially on camera and off the camera. Especially with his documentaries that I've watched as well. Those sort of documentaries that I really wanted to emulate. And this is another reason why I wanted to go into presenting as well. Not necessarily just sort of daytime presenting or entertainment presenting, but I wanted to showcase and present real life stories that would really showcase what people are going through, you know, and having an understanding, allowing people to have an understanding about different societies, different cultures, and different beliefs, faiths. Do you understand this? And I feel like that's how society. And obviously, because we live in a digital age, we have the technologies now. We're blessed to have those sort of technologies now more than ever to document all these stories. Do you understand? And I think that's something that we need to really take for granted. You know, we're seeing things being documented. Without those things being documented, we wouldn't have known about what's happening. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I mean, I always say social media is a blessing and a curse, but
yes, of course. no doubt for sure.
But honestly, the benefits, I definitely feel like, well, I know that it can definitely turn you can definitely turn your vision into something that is profitable and tangible.
And it can change people's mindsets, perspectives, inspire community, everything. It all starts with that action, isn't it? One move, and that's it.
Exactly.
Off you go.
Yeah.
So Reggie is the main. Are there any other media figures you look up to? Reggie has been one of. Are there others?
For me, when I was younger, actually, this was when I was young. Let's say around 15 or so. I really admired Trevor McDonald.
Okay, the guy that was on ITV, wasn't it?
ITV as an anchor, and obviously, as I said, there's a lack of diversity within journalism and TV, and seeing a black man, you know, present the news for me was new, and I was in awe. Honestly, I was in awe, and I was thinking, you know, this is something that I really want to do. And that's, I think, in the back of my mind, subconsciously, I always thought, you know what, this is why I want to go into presenting, purely because I'm seeing someone else that's got the same color as me on TV, and just making it known that I can also do that as well. Do you understand?
100%, yeah.
And that's why it's so key to have representation within the industry, because we can't necessarily look up to people and that are not the same color as us. You understand? We have to have that representation there to allow other young people to see that, yes, because another black person is on TV, I'm capable of doing that as well. And that's the same mindset I had when I was 15 and seeing Trevor McDonald as well. You understand? So for me, initially, Trevor McDonald was an inspiration for me, honestly.
The guy, love that. Yeah, some amazing documentaries. The ones he did in prisons. He went to prisons in America and just touching on really hard hitting topics.
Yes.
And I'm Reggie, of course. Yeah.
They're amazing, man, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know if he's still making documentaries now, Trevor McDonald, is he?
I haven't come across any recently.
Yeah. I think he's retired.
Because he's in his 80s now, right?
Yeah, even 80 now.
He's now, so
crazy stuff.
Yeah, no, he's living out.
Yeah, he's living now. I'm sure he could still do it, even if, you know, with the money he's made, time to call it.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. With that, what key piece of advice would you give to people who are indecisive on whether to take the plunge into the media industry as a journalist?
If you're indecisive about taking that plunge into the media industry as a journalist, I would say understand the reason why. Ask yourself why first. I'm all about purpose, and you need to really understand your why. Don't go into anything half-heartedly. If you understand your why, then you know the purpose it brings. And a lot of people think that, yes, when it comes to journalism, and I'm going to be honest here, journalism, there's not enough money in journalism. Like when you're working from the ground up and making your way up, honestly, peanuts. The money is peanut. And that's I'm just being transparent here. So if you truly have a purpose and a passion for it, do it. Do you understand? I always say passion over profit, or purpose over profit. you know, because honestly, when you put your passion or when you put your purpose at the forefront, then the money will come. But if you're just going in it purposely for the money, then you're going in for the wrong intentions. And you need to really analyze and think, cool, what am I actually doing this for? So I think I would say ask yourself why before you do that. And also, my advice is ask people around within the industry, you know, who are actually working in the industry. If it's a case where you want to talk to me, or I can, you know, connect you with other people within the industry to talk and get a better understanding. I'll definitely say do that. Alternatively, you could do just like a one-day experience within the industry as well. You know, you could work in Sky News, or you could work in Press Association just for the day, just to get a taste and see how it is within the news industry, whether you're print or broadcast journalist. You know, really get a taste of what you want to do before you actually, you know, consume it. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
So,
you need to do that. Yeah.
Those are the main key points I would say for anyone that is a bit hesitant about going into the media industry as a journalist. You know, really try those things. Ask yourself why. You know, ask people around, and also go for you know, at least 1 week experience within the industry.
Mm-hmm. Use your connections for sure.
Exactly.
And maintain as well. If you don't have many, once you get as you said, once you do a 1 day placement, once you go in and do it, maintain your connections from each place 100%. You go to, because they're so invaluable.
Yeah.
As you've seen yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. You know, connections are very valuable. Yeah. Very, very valuable. And that's something that you should, you know, uphold and uphold it with pride, because those connections, be all end all, honestly.
I mean, it's very cliche, but your network really is your net worth. That's as simple as that.
I always say that as well. Your network is your net worth.
Your network.
You know, it's all about building that network. Having creating a document of just writing down all those names that you have within the industry. See where they can lead you to, and see what other avenues they can potentially lead you to. You know, or even just having them as a mentor, where they can certain steps to take, whether you're going in the right direction. You know, I think those are really key things to take, honestly.
For sure. And with that, amazing. Great advice, Nii. Love that. For anyone watching,
thank you.
That's for you guys. These budding media guys, moguls, these journalists.
I don't know the answer to everything, but I try.
No, that's good. That's good. And with that, tell me, what inspired you to create Dose of Society? What was you thinking behind that? How did that come about?
So that initially started as a passion project. So my good friend and my business partner, Ahmed Fade, who I am doing Dose Society with, he was essentially going out initially before Dose Society became an actual thing. He was going and just interviewing people on the streets, but he was doing it on his own personal brand as Ahmed Fade. And you know, he realized that he wanted to turn it into actual business, and you know, he saw that I was doing journalism, and obviously aligned with what, you know, Dose Society actually wanted to become. And you know, he hit me up, and we got together and literally just got the ball running. You know, I said I was down for that. I said I'm so interested because, as I said, I'm all about creating content for change and inspiring the next generation. So because it aligns, because the ethos of Dose Society aligned with my purpose, I thought, you know what, let's go with it. Yeah. So initially, it was just a passion project. We were just going out, filming random people in the streets, harassing them, you know, just saying, are you a quick interview? And then, but at the same time, you know, we're asking very thought-provoking questions, you know, that would stimulate conversation. And yeah, it really got a buzz on Instagram and on Facebook as well. I remember we put a video out which managed to accumulate, I think it was like 2 million views in a day, which was crazy, and that just boosted followers on a crazy scale. Then that's when we really saw that there's something here. There's really something here, and that we're working on something. And yeah, I was balancing. I remember I was balancing working full time as a journalist and Dose Society. But when I really saw the full potential of Dose Society, that's when I went back to freelance. So I was working at freelance, went full time, then went back to freelance when I saw the potential with Dose Society. And I realized, this is a risk I want to take and something that I want to do because I see a bigger vision here, and so did Ahmed. So yeah, we literally just went with it. And yeah, so far we've managed to take Dose Society on an international scale now, where we now have been invested in Snapchat as well, which is amazing. And I thank God for that daily. And it's given us the opportunity now to go full time with Dose Society, where we're creating short documentaries, also being on the Snapchat platform. It's called Humankind. And as well as the community we have a community of 100 plus people from 72 different countries that are basically explaining what is happening within their countries, because the problem that we have today is that we don't necessarily know what's happening in people's countries. So we want to hear it from raw perspectives that actually live in those countries. You want to know what's happening in Hungary. You want to know what's happening in Japan. You want to know, in South Africa. But obviously you would initially go on Google to find out what's happening, but you're not really hearing it from a real perspective. You're just hearing it from someone else, or you're hearing it from
you're looking through the window.
Exactly. Literally. It's like you're hearing it from an anchor or correspondent who doesn't actually know the story. He just sourced the information. So that's the idea that we've implemented and that we're using now. So user generated content, which is what we're doing, especially for our segment called Around the World. As I said, that is basically showcasing young people expressing and showcasing what is happening within their local towns and cities, and just allowing people to have an understanding about their culture, because our mission is to create an understanding in a fractured society that we're currently in, and that's only due to dialogue, and that without dialogue, understanding won't be attained, and we need to create that in order to make that happen. So that's why we're utilizing social media, utilizing our platform to really allow people to understand that yes, we can create a change, but there needs to be people with us to do that as well. We're creating these communities. Do you understand? And our long-term vision is for people to acknowledge that yes, there are many Greta Thunbergs out there, and we want to showcase that yes, and basically create a platform where people see it as a go-to destination and be like, okay, cool. I see that's not just in Sweden, but I'm seeing it's happening in South Africa. That's another Greta Thunberg there. You understand? I'm seeing that happen in UK. There's another Greta Thunberg there. It doesn't have to just be in Sweden. Do you understand? It's just allowing people to acknowledge that there's a bigger purpose here, and that we all can create change. Do you understand? It's not just one person. We all can create change. So yeah, I mean, those societies have been going from strength to strength.
That's right. Globally as well. It starts off in London, just from there to the world.
Yeah. We can only thank God for that, man. Honestly, we can only thank God. And inevitably, the hustle ties down with it as well. Ahmed and I were just doing day in and day out, also balancing our jobs as well. And also making those connections. The great thing about Ahmed and I, we're very adaptable, and we can really place ourselves anywhere and interact with anyone. So it's just enabled us to get to the position where we are today. You understand? Obviously, there's so much more to do, but I feel like it's just really enabled us to, yeah, as I said, get to the position where we are today.
Yeah, and I think the name is so important as well. Dose of Society, as it is, it's simple, effective.
Yeah,
gets straight to the point.
There's it on the tin.
You know, you don't need to overcomplicate things. This is literally
exactly
of what people are thinking. Give it right. Put it at the heart of the public. Give them their opinions. Give them the platform to voice their opinions, and so forth.
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Who came up with the name? Was you both of you guys together? Both of you guys together, or was it?
Ahmed. No, it was actually Ahmed's friend that came up with the name. Well, came up with those of.
Yeah.
And then it was society. We'll think about different words. Let me go into that. Embarrass her. There were different sort of names that we came up with before that, which is quite a funny story. But yeah, once we heard those of society, we both knew that it fitted well with our cause and our purpose. And yeah, we ran with that. We ran with that. You're essentially getting a dose of society every single day.
Oh wow, love that. That's so true as well. So that's what you need, as you said, hungry countries that you don't really talk about, you don't hear about in the media. You get to hear this at the center. That's good. That's good. What inspired you? Yeah, what inspired you to run with purpose as well? Your other creation.
So with Run with Purpose, as I said previously, there were times when I was freelancing and obviously balancing Dose of Society, and obviously that created a mental strain on just my well-being. And during that time, I was mainly jogging as a hobby. I wasn't really doing it for the mental sake. I was just doing it just for a hobby. But I then started to realize not only does it edify my physical state, but it also edifies my mental state as well. And I was really going through it when balancing freelance and balancing Dose of Society as well. Because at the back of my mind, there's always that self-doubt, thinking, okay, am I ever going to get Dose of Society that position? Am I ever going to even see the next paycheck when it comes to freelance as well? Because we don't know. It's a hit and miss with freelance. So there's always that constant self-doubt and that constant just that doubt that was playing in my mind. And I was thinking, you know what, this is not the mindset that I'm supposed to adopt or adapt. Like these are things. This is a mindset that is going to only hinder me. But when jogging, it really allowed me to see the benefits and the future that I have intended for my life and the purpose behind that as well. So my good friend and I, Joel Tika, we decided essentially to start up a running community that would essentially.
He went to University of Nottingham, didn't he?
He went to.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Yeah, and because we were both into running, he simply calls me one day and says, "Nee, I've got an idea. Why don't?" He's like, he asked me, we're both into running, right? I was like, yeah. Like, why don't we start a running community? And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, wow, literally the day or 2 days before, I was actually thinking of the same thing. And I knew that this was no coincidence because I knew that this was God ordained. So after sort of the ideation stage and coming across, surprising and alarming statistics, seeing that men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women, we realized that we need to create this niche. We don't want to just create an ordinary running community. We want to be able to have an impact within our society. And coming across those statistics, you know, really had that sort of light bulb moment and thinking, you know what, let's just center it to men. You know, just center it for men and only men, but men from all backgrounds as well. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And then ever since then, you know, we came up with the name of Run with Purpose. And yeah, 8th of June, we had our first run, 8th of June 2019. We had 30 plus guys attend. And ever since then, we've been holding runs on a fortnightly basis where men have been coming, attending, and, you know, really renewing their mindsets. And the stories that you hear every time we have our sessions are one of a kind, honestly, so moving. And it just goes to show, you know, how evident it is that, and yeah, how evident it is that we should have a community that we have now with Run with Purpose, because a lot of guys praise us and give us praise because of this community, and said that it's helped them within their mental state. One of the guys who's part of our community, he was going through a lot of drug abuse, and I remember, you know, telling us this whilst running, and was going through a lot of drug abuse, and a lot of mental state, and had a lot of suicidal thoughts. And he said, and I still remember this till this day, he said that I've never felt like this, or never felt a sense of rejuvenation like this for the past 5 years. And running with you guys has honestly changed my mindset and changed the way I live. And honestly, that was a tear-jerking moment, because it just goes to show, as I said, that how needed this community is. And there's a bigger purpose here. We always say, because we're not mental health experts, because we are not professionals within mental health, we always say that we are always there to listen. We're always there to listen, and making sure that we all run as one, and we stay one as a community, because, you know, there are men that are, you know, struggling with mental health, and, you know, within nature, we do have an egotistical nature where we don't want to, you know, essentially look to be I don't know, sort of feminine, or
sensitive.
Yeah, like we're always usually told to man up, essentially. And we want to essentially change that narrative, change that stigma that we're in society. Showcasing the fact that, yes, I can be vulnerable, I can cry, I can open up to my male peers. Do you understand? And this is a mindset that we're trying to allow men to realize, and seeing that, yes, there is a bigger picture here, because Run with Purpose, it's in the name. We're allowing guys to see that there is a purpose. They do have a purpose, and there is a purpose that they serve within this world. Do you understand?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I'm so grateful for that community. It's only been a year. We had our year anniversary just recently on the 8th of June. And honestly, I see it going from strength to strength. And we couldn't have done it without our community. Honestly, without our community, we wouldn't be at the position we are today.
Yeah. For sure. I've seen stuff, and the amazing stuff you're doing there, Run with Purpose.
Thank you.
So keep it up. Just keep on with that. Keep on inspiring. Keep on adding people to your.
Definitely.
That's an amazing thing you got going there. And with Run with Purpose and Dose of Society, what are your main goals and aims with both organizations over the near future?
So with Dose of Society, we will essentially want to create our own application, which will, as I said before, being the main go-to destination for socially conscious millennials, and allow people to see that conversations are being had on a day-to-day basis within different countries. Now, what that would mainly look like is basically open up an app where you see a picture of the world, and you essentially click on a country, and you would see people essentially talking about what's happening within their world, or within their country, within society. and just allowing people to see, yes, there's more to life than just, you know, the West. There's things happening in the Middle East. There's things happening elsewhere. And we want people to realize, you know, all those stories, on all those untold stories that are happening in our day-to-day society. So that's the sort of long-term and short-term goal for those society. For Run with Purpose, we are currently situated at Alexandra Palace, holding our you know, bi-weekly runs. But essentially, we do want to branch out to other boroughs. You know, so as we're currently located in North London, we want to reach out to East, West, South, you name it, and make sure that you allow men to become the best version of themselves. And that's our mission. You know, we're using Run with Purpose to create a safe space for men to become the very best version of themselves. And we don't want that just to only be in North London. We want that to be also transcend to all around London. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And interesting here, because when I was in LA for Dose of Society, and obviously representing those, representing Run with Purpose, wearing the t-shirt when I was going on my runs and going and joining other running clubs, you know, it was a real conversation starter. You know, seeing the Run with Purpose t-shirt, a lot of people raised their eyebrows and questioned me. Run with Purpose, what is that? Yeah. And once I told them the purpose and the cause of it, a lot of people were amazed. And, you know, it just goes to show that Run with Purpose is a universal language. And this is something that can be essentially emulated. Essentially emulated anywhere. Do you understand? So ideally, yes, take it global. You know, take it global. It may sound a bit cliche, but I essentially want to take Run with Purpose global and allow men to realize that yes, we can be vulnerable, we can open up, and, you know, essentially talk about issues that are holding us back, and holding our mental state back as well.
When you say global, that might be something Michael Dapper said. International, so that we international now. International. Oh man, we global, baby. That's nuts.
Yeah, man, we're trying small steps, bro.
Keep it up with both organizations. You really are inspiring. But let's go briefly back to what you were talking about, brutality, police brutality, and the Black Lives Matter. Arnold Aubrey was an avid runner, just like you yourself. What are your thoughts on the police brutality against Black people in America? And how can we, not just in the UK even, how can we help to tackle racism in society?
Yeah. Honestly, well, first, to answer your first question, I'm honestly just tired of just seeing this constant repetition of injustice within our society, especially on our people. Well, initially seeing that video, I was honestly in scars. You know, making me also question, even though, you know, I don't live in the US, making me question, wow, so if I go on my run, I'm then going to get shot by a police officer. Yeah. Do you understand? And that's what was playing in my mind. And obviously, considering the fact that I do go to the US occasionally as well, it made me think, if I go for my run, am I then going to get shot by the police as well? Do you understand? Based on the color of my skin. And it's just sickening. It's purely sickening, and it does honestly frustrate me. And I was lit when I initially saw it, and I stamped that we're in due to George Floyd as well. Seeing that also disheartened me. With the current climate that we're in, with the BLM movement and you know, the riots that we're seeing right now, honestly, I'm indifferent. I'm very indifferent. You know, because yes, I'm still hurt by what is currently happening and what's been happening for centuries. you know, we've been facing this sort of oppression for 400 years now.
Yeah.
400 years, you know, of constant systematic oppression. And it's something that obviously can't happen and change overnight, but there's something that needs to change within, obviously, the mentality of Caucasian people. But at the same time, there needs to be a change of mindset within our people as well. You know, like what I'm seeing, the reason why I'm saying I'm indifferent as well is because, yes, one, I'm still hurt, but on the other hand, I'm also in awe, and I love the fact that we are seeing so much solidarity, you know, within all these protests that are happening all around the world, from even Japan, New Zealand. You know, we've seen that this is an international and global movement now.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere, and excuse me if I'm wrong, but apparently this is now the biggest civil rights movement in history.
Yeah.
In history, like that's amazing. Honestly, that's honestly amazing. And for me, it just goes to show that there is more to be done. And you know, I love the fact that people are now being outspoken. Like a lot of my white peers are coming up to me and asking me if I'm all right. And we're also seeing a lot of other white peers, you know, or white people that are basically exposing their ideology, saying that all lives matter. You know, it just goes to show that, you know, that what they're truly thinking. And I think that's one thing I really do admire about, I really do admire about the US, because within the US, racism over there is very overt. Here in the UK, is very covert. You know, the subtle racism, I hate. I would rather someone, honestly, honestly, I'd rather someone openly just tell me, you know, that they would call me the N-word. They would call me the N-word right in front of my face.
Yeah.
Then I'll have an understanding about, you know, their ideology and their thinking, rather than subtly, you know, oppressing within the industry and constantly subtly do it behind my back. Do you understand? So there's a long way to go, man. There's honestly a long way to go. And I think that it really does stem down to dialogue, honestly. And we're seeing that now. It really does stem down to dialogue. And as I said, that's the purpose with Dose Society. We are planning to have that dialogue to then bring understanding, which will enable people to create relationships. Even though people won't have, even though people may not have, you know, the same understanding and agreement, but a discussion, you've essentially created some sort of relationship. You understand? There's people that are supporting different parties. You know, it could be a liberal, you could be a Democrat, you could be conservative, it could be Labour. At the end of the day, that's not a change of relationship that I have with you. Do you understand? So
yeah,
I think right now it's just all about creating that dialogue, creating that creating understanding to allow people to see, or white people especially, to see that yes, there is privilege there, and you need to acknowledge that privilege. You need to see that we're constantly being oppressed by the system, and you need to do yourself, you need to do something within yourself to prevent that from happening, because we've constantly faced this. You won't be able to acknowledge or feel what we're going through on a day-to-day basis, but we're having to face this. So why don't you now help us by unifying? So yeah, honestly, I think really does stem down to dialogue. And why I also, and going back to what I said as well, why I also said our people as well, is because we need to create a change in our mindset where after these protests, what happens next? Because we've been protesting for years now, and it's all well and good chanting, screaming Black Lives Matter, but what is actually going to happen next? We need to think about strategic ways that could really benefit. Still there?
Yeah, still there. So it briefly went off there for a minute. The connection was a bit poor, but carry. Yeah, carry on. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Just want people to see that yes, they're Black people in particular, to see that, you know, you can innovate something, you can create something for yourself, that would essentially allow you to gain, you know, your own economic wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Relying on the system. I think that's what we need to regain back and essentially build, you know, black economic. I think that's so essential. But at the same time, yeah, purely I think dialogue would essentially help end this. And yeah, honestly, it is tiring. It's tiring just speaking about this and having to constantly see videos on social media. I've had to take days off purely because I was, you know, tired of just seeing so much negative news on our black people, you know. But yeah, honestly, I'm just hoping that we do have a change in our mindset, and there is a change in also white people's mindset as well.
That's it. It's all about honest discussions, right? Honestly talking.
Honestly, yeah.
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 For sure. For sure. I'm sure the narrative will change as long as we continually address and discuss. Now, tell me. I know you never even said you're so busy even during coronavirus times, COVID-19. But what do you do when you're not working? When your mindset is away from the work, away from the media, away from everything else that's going on? What do you do? What do you like to get up to?
For me, I usually, obviously, it's running.
Yeah.
I love to go for my runs.
Yeah.
For me, honestly, running is an escape. It's an escape for me. It's just an escape from the world, away from everything, and it just allows me to come up with new ideas as well. And as I said, you know, coming up with the idea to start a platform called, well, start a running community. I didn't know what I wanted to call it, but I wanted to start a running community. Then having my friend Joel call me. You understand? There's a lot of benefits within running that has just essentially helped my health, as I said, but as well as that, my mental state, and just allowing me to be more innovative as well. Because studies have shown that running allows you to generate new ideas as well. And I've definitely been a testament to that, honestly. But as well as that, you know, I love to spend time with my close ones. I have two sisters, and you know, I just love being around them. Or two little sisters as well, and being around my close friends. Honestly, just connecting with people. I just love people, and I think one thing I've realized is that, especially during this time of lockdown, I've realized that, you know, me being sort of outgoing, it's not an anomaly. Like, I'm honestly, like, I always used to neglect the idea. I used to think like, I'm not as outgoing, or honestly, I used to always think that, cool, I'm not this outgoing. But honestly, like, I'm now deprived of the fact that I'm not seeing my friends and some of my family in the physical realm. So yeah, lockdown has been a real challenge. But honestly, there have been benefits as well.
Yeah, I think the way I say is you still connect with family. You have to. People found different ways. I see people even turning to PTs, or, you know, cooking stuff. You cook different meals. I'm finding you're eating healthier. You're not going out for takeaways. You're not going out to these restaurants. You're dining better, eating healthier. There's many things you can learn. Start learning a new language as well. There's so much you have to embrace this time. But although once we're out, I hope, pray to God, that we don't want to see a time like this again. But embrace this time right now. Exactly. There's so much to be learned as well. Honestly. You ever change your mindset? You can plan for later in the year. There's many things you can be doing. Take the steps. I've seen a lot of people running as well. Exactly. Running. So many 100%. People jogging. It's almost like we're in January, where it's like new. It's obviously. It feels like we're in January, where people.
Honestly, it's obviously. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Honestly, there's nothing else to do for people. So obviously the only resort to get out and an excuse to get out as well was to exercise. Run.
Yeah, that's it.
So a lot of people have been hitting me up during this period and saying, a few tips that I should give for running as well. And I admire that. And even though, yes, they were essentially forced to do that during this time, I admire the fact that they to go out and just run and take one step at a time.
That's it. Do you play any sports? Football?
I haven't played football in years, to be honest. Honestly, I used to play football a lot in secondary school. But one sport for me, and majority of my close friends know this, but before getting into the TV world and journalism, I actually wanted to become a basketball player.
Oh, really?
Basketball was one of my favorite sports. Honestly, I was a captain for my basketball team in secondary school for a good 3 years, and honestly, I loved it, and I saw a lot of potential. I was literally always the youngest player on the team when playing in these sort of divisions in London.
Yeah.
Because a lot of coaches potential, but it's a shame that I'm in London.
Yeah.
If I was in America, I mean, honestly, I would have taken that real plunge into basketball. But my parents, and even I acknowledge that it's gonna be sort of 10 times harder to really be profitable within that industry. Because there's not many basketball players here that can thrive. Do you understand? So
you have to move to America.
Exactly. So that's when I was like, let me just run with media, man.
Keep basketball on the side as a hobby, but maybe for some media.
I'll get back on that later. But now there's a chance, I'm going back to the US, back and forth anyway.
Right,
chance. You never know, I could just turn into a basketball player. You never know.
You never know. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah. Come on, NBA, here we come.
There we come, man. 2021, bro.
Yeah. Let's get it in the works right now. 2021 is due to be a very lit year indeed, because we got so much planned. There's summer holidays, holidays that were meant to happen.
So much has been I'm literally planning ahead of this year. I'm just like 2021. What I'm gonna do? What holidays am I gonna go on?
For sure.
Yeah, honestly, I was supposed to be going Dominican Republic with my missus, and obviously that had to be put on hold.
Dominican,
so it's a shame.
Good stuff about that place.
Yeah. Amazing. It was going to go to an amazing resort as well, and it's a shame that we can't go, because that was supposed to be my break as well. Because prior, I was working so much, so I really just wanted to, have a breather.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
It's a good question. Essentially, having those society and run with purpose. Obviously, right now I'm working full time with those society. But I want to be in a more established position, in terms of investments, and in terms of our community as well, growth and tangible growth as well, where we actually hold an events, live events where people are attending and we're having real conversations about what's happening in society. That's what I want to see those in the future, and also with Run with Purpose, essentially take that full time as well, where we can help men become the best version of themselves and do that on a full time as well. Yeah, there's a need for that in our society, and as I said, stories that we hear every time we have our sessions and every time we have our Zoom calls, because we've had to turn everything virtual with Run with Purpose due to COVID. Speaking to these guys and our community, we've realized that there is a real need for, creating that safe space for men. And, if we can do that full time, then that would be amazing, because honestly, there needs to be a change. and a shift in pattern of mindset.
Yeah, for sure. And now with the lockdown in place, as you talk about the Zoom meetings, there's that online meeting for people who want to, and even for viewers of the Dabby magazine as well. Can we join in? Can people just join in and discuss their mental health issues and other? Is there a safe space for them to talk about their issues, health issues?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So we've kind of created that for our community initially, but we don't hold back from anyone that wants to join, especially as a man, wants to join and just express how they're currently feeling, because that's the whole purpose of our Zoom calls. You know, we want to allow men to express how they're feeling. You know, we don't have it structured or anything. We just have it based on just a generalized conversation, you know, where we have a few laughs, you know, just talk about what's happening on our day-to-day lives. And these are real moments that we really cherish, because we're just having real honest conversations, you know. So yeah, no, like we're honestly open to people joining. And this year we have kept it as just part of our community, but we are also open to, you know, having other men join us and just speak about what's happening within the day-to-day. And it's the same with our Run with Purpose sessions. You know, anyone is welcome. Anyone is welcome. We don't exclude anyone. You know, just what you have to do is just bring yourself and, you know, be running with purpose.
I love that. love that. For sure. That's it. Amazing, Nii. This might be a tricky one for you. But what's your single most favorite moment as a broadcaster?
As a broadcaster, working within the traditional media industry.
Yeah.
Oh, I would say seeing the main man. Oh, do you know what? There's so many, honestly. But for me, seeing the main man, Will Smith.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And filming him.
Wow.
Like, Will Smith has always been an inspiration for me.
Of course.
I don't even know I didn't mention him before. But Will Smith, honestly.
You just dropped this one in now. Okay. Wait till the interview to drop that one.
Yeah, honestly, just seeing him and just filming him there. Yeah, honestly, because I was working at Press Association, and you know, allows us to go to things like red carpets. Giving us that opportunity to do that. Yeah, honestly, it was a breathtaking moment, man. Honestly, and just seeing him there, I was like, Will Smith.
It's like growing up watching
in real life,
Bel-Air, and then to see him, just
yeah.
It must be an awe moment, like one of those pinch me now. In all moments.
Honestly, that's how it is. That's how it is. That's how it is constantly.
For sure.
That's how it is constantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that was definitely a moment for me. And also, I would say interviewing Nelson Mandela's granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
That was an inspiration moment for me, because you know, just hearing her speak and, you know, just seeing her in the flesh. You know, Nelson Mandela has always been an inspiration for me. His story, his background, from young, he's always been an inspiration. And just seeing his granddaughter, seeing someone part of the family and interviewing her, was definitely a real moment for me, honestly. And I'll definitely put that one in the books.
For sure. For that one is one to tell the grandkids about as well.
Exactly. Have to.
Kids and grandkids.
Have to.
For sure. And finally, the amazing.
I can tell them that
You can, for sure. You gotta tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it for sure. And finally, amazing. I love that. And finally, at the Dabby magazine, we love to ask our guests, if you had an opportunity to speak with your old self, what would you say and why?
Oh, it's a good question. I would. I would always say to myself, until this day, I maintain this mentality. Always say, seize the moment. Mm-hmm. Seize the moment. And it's something that my pastor has always said to me as well. Is, you know, when you have an opportunity there, just seize it. Seize that moment, because I've had experiences in the past where I haven't seized the moment, and I always think, oh, damn, what if, what if I don't want to have that? I don't want to have that idea of, or that ideology of, what if I spoke to him and I would have achieved this? And do you understand? So
yeah,
always telling myself, seize the moment, because honestly, I feel like, yeah, I probably would been like, right now, I wouldn't say I'm in the ideal position I want to be in, but if I continually adopted that mindset of seizing the moment, I would have definitely made more connections, which would have taken my position to the next step. Do you understand? So I would definitely say seize the moment every time, every opportunity. But always ask yourself why. Always ask yourself why you're doing that beforehand, and if it aligns with your purpose. You don't want to just be hasty and just make a decision and think, But if there's opportunity there, just go for it. Seize that moment, and that's something that I am doing now, and I will continue doing. I will continue to do until I die. I have to.
I love that. Words of wisdom from nuggets from Nii. Nuggets from Nii. Actually, let's put an illustration. Words of wisdom, nuggets from Nii. I love that.
I like that.
Dropping
Nuggets.
nuggets.
I like that.
For people listening, you hear that right now. There's your nuggets. The tea has been spilled. We've heard it here right now.
You've got them there. You've got it. As I said, I don't know everything. I try.
Yeah, that's it. We can only try. You can only keep on pushing. Inspiring stuff, bro. I love that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for taking the time out and interviewing with the Dabby magazine. I'm looking forward to seeing the growth process of both Dose Society and Run with Purpose throughout this year and onwards and upwards. Thanks a lot, bro.
Thank you so much, bro.